joined by Indiana State head coach Kurt Mallory and Dallas Westphal linebacker Sycamores. Kurt, could you just make an opening statement, talk about your prospects for the season, camp starting in a week, and then we'll get the questions in this room and remotely as well.
Yeah, really excited. Excited about this year's football team. I've had a great summer. We start on Sunday. That'll be our reporting day. Anxious to get around the team and get started.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take some questions from this room, and then for those that are joining remotely, when I prompt you, just unmute yourself to ask a question. Questions from this room first.
Jeff Kopak, Fargo. Sunday already?
Yeah.
It's getting earlier and earlier, isn't it?
Well, we play on a Thursday this year, so you go backwards from when you open up, and so we're able to report on Sunday and get going.
Sam Critter with Euro Sports.
That's
Sounds like the FCS is starting even earlier next year. Week 0 is going to be the new week 1. So are you in favor of that, of kind of starting even earlier? Because then, fall camp, summer camp.
Well, we've had discussions with our athletic director and just kind of, see where it takes us right now. We've had a few opportunities that we're going to explore, but certainly looking at it and seeing what gives us the best option.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to the house settlements, every team or every school in this conference has decided to opt in. How important do you think that is, just having each team kind of under the same rules and guidelines, whatever those may be?
Well, I think it's consistency. We're all on the same page. We can, that's makes this day, this weekend so special because you get around the other coaches, you talk, you talk what you're going through in the summertime, how you handling something, because there's really no playbook to what we're all going through. We're all going through it the first time. So we're all friends at the end of the day, and we can all, talk about what we're all going through.
Kurt, many changes the way you've been trying to build your program since you've been there?
No.
You've been there a while now.
Yeah. No, we've stayed pretty true to where we're at. We're always going to start our recruiting in the state of Indiana. And then we're going to, recruit the surrounding states. We'll go into Iowa, we'll go into Wisconsin. But those are where we go. And then as far as, the transfer portal, then we're going to go, where the players are, just like most people, but try to stay close to home and build it from there.
Let's go next to questions from people joining remotely. And if you have questions for either Kurt or Dallas, just unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hey, Coach, Brian Jennings, Indiana State Radio. Hope you're doing well.
Hi, Brian.
Coach, new faces this year, coaching staff, roster turnover. Just talk about the chemistry and how important the summer's been.
Yeah, it's been very important. Starting in the spring, thought we had a really good spring. A lot of the coaches that we brought in are coaches that I've had a history with, guys that maybe I've worked with before. Our offense coordinator, John Bear, and I worked together about 15 years ago, and I followed his career. He's done a tremendous job running offense, and really glad to reunite with him. And then our offensive line coach, who's also our assistant head coach, Daryl Funk, him and I have worked together. This will be our third time together. We were together at the University of Michigan. He was the O-line coach. I was the secondary coach. And then he was one of my first hires when I first became the head coach here at Indiana State. And he's now back with us. So really excited to have those guys back. Got a good young group of coaches that have come with too as well. And then we have a defensive coordinator, David Elson. Dave and I kind of grew up together. We're both from Indiana, played high school football together. We've got a lot of same mutual friends, never worked together. This will be our first time, but it almost seems like we have because we've been such close friends.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Coach, we've talked a lot about all the FBS guys you brought in, but Dallas here, she doesn't seem to get talked about a ton. What are you looking to see from Dallas this season?
I'm sorry, Derek, did you ask about Dallas?
Yeah, what are you looking to see from Dallas this season?
Well, your defense is only as strong as what you are in the middle. And when we've been really good in the middle of our defense, whether it's our interior guys, our middle linebacker, inside backers, and our safeties, we've been really good. And I feel that'll be the same case this year with Dallas in the middle and what we have interior-wise. I think we're strong up front. I really like our safeties this year. And then you build it from inside out.
Dallas, what should fans know about maybe your style of play, especially on the defensive side, as you look to tighten down some of these teams next season?
I think me and the defense as a whole kind of have the same mindset. Is we're going to do our job to the best of our ability. We're not going to try and do too much. we're going to play for the guy next to us, and we're going to be as disciplined as we can and just play hard.
Dallas, from a perspective for yourself, you've been around. Some faces are gone from last year. You look, Garrett's no longer there, Jeff's no longer there. Obviously, Maddox has moved on. Just talk about, from your perspective, not having those guys around you and how that's sort of added more of a leadership role to your game.
Yeah, 100%. It's obviously now it's my time to step up, but I think, watching those guys the past 3 years has been very beneficial for me, and seeing how guys who have had a lot of success, see how they do it, and then you kind of do the same thing, and then bring other guys along with as well.
Thank you.
Coach, I think there's a lot of doubters out there this next season. I'm sure you're seeing the rankings, but I traveled with the team quite a bit this last season. There were matchups such as Eastern Illinois last year and Youngstown State. Those two really stood out to me. Games, a team that they really could have won. How are you looking to maybe change that this season?
I think, Dallas hit it. We've got a lot of young men in this program that have been working while they've been waiting, and their opportunities come. And, these guys have played. They may not have started, but their time is now, and they're hungry. And you see that in the way they work in the spring. You've seen it throughout the summer. And I know everyone's really excited to get started here on Sunday and show, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't really get caught up in where you start. We want to see where we end up.
Coach, obviously Elijah's a threat when the ball's in his hands and in the open field, everywhere else. Are you looking for him to scale back his ability to keep it himself and try to stretch the field more, use the tight end more, get Rashad involved at times? Or what's things going to look like this year offensively with the new system?
I think our staff's done a great job of recruiting some skill. We've got good skill coming back that have played. Rashad is who you mentioned. But we've got a really good receiving core. I think we've done a great job in the transfer portal, and getting better skill out there. And but I think you're going to see the offense spread some things out, get the ball out in space. And I know we're anxious to showcase that. And obviously, when you get Elijah with the ball in his hands, he can do some really great things.
Yeah, as Coach talked about how a lot of you guys had that patience, kind of biding your time before hitting the field. How important is that to, have that patience develop in one program instead of, maybe some guys, they don't play in 2 years and kind of get happy feet and go into the transfer portal? How important is it to just stay in that system and continue to develop?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think to build a culture, obviously, you got to have some guys that have been there the whole time. And I think the way I approached it was, obviously, I sat behind Garrett Olendike, who was a great player, and I just did every day I came in hoping to learn something from him. And I think just having that approach, learned a lot about how he looked at the game, how I can look at the game differently, and just learned a lot from him. So I think that's important.
Coach, early bye week this year for you guys.
Yep.
And then you guys have the 4 Dakota schools back to back to back. Just how do you guys kind of stay healthy
Yeah.
in a kind of grueling season like that?
Well, I think, I like the way that, our bye comes right after right after the non-conference schedule. Because as you said, everyone's really, really good in our conference. I know the Dakotas have the utmost respect for, but there's never a down week in the Missouri Valley. And we've got a great challenge non-conference. We open up with McHenry. We play a great rivalry in Eastern Illinois, which is great for both schools. We're located about 30 miles apart. And then we'll get into have an opponent playing Indiana University, and of course coming out to playing Montana. But it's a great challenge. I know our players are excited for that.
Coach, talk about the off. Go ahead, Derek.
Sorry, going off that a little bit. I just want to get in there. You mentioned playing Montana and then IU. How do those two schools help you going into those back-to-backs with like South Dakota and them?
Well, I think both teams are going to be ranked in the top. Indiana will probably be in the top 15, top 10, who knows? But they're awfully good. But it's a great challenge. You're playing one of the top FBS programs in the country. The location, we have a lot of guys from the state of Indiana, so it's great for our program. We're fortunate to play Indiana and Purdue every year, just rotates. And we have an opportunity to go out and play Montana, and got the utmost respect in the program. We played them a few years back. The outcome wasn't what we wanted, but I got a tremendous amount of respect in what they do out at Montana.
Coach, talk about the offensive line. Obviously, in order to be successful in the Valley, you got to be able to run the ball, or at any level, really.
Yep.
Just talk about their maturation process over the course of the summer.
Well, I think it's built on guys that we recruited at a high school. We've brought in a great class. Now it's their time. You know, I mentioned it before. You know, they've been working while they've waited. You know, they're going into their third year and they're ready to go. And the majority of them guys been in the program since day one. And then, you know, you do have, you know, as you're talking about, Brian, you know, you do lose guys throughout the transfer portal, and we replaced them with some really good players as well.
Thanks.
Time for probably one more question, either from remote or in this room. Doesn't look like that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.